Hi. So in this video, we will discuss about some properties of the Taylor series. I mean, how the Taylor series behaves with the algebraic operations. And then we will prove a very important result that is known as Lorentz series expansion for an analytic function or a function which is analytic in a region that contains an NLS. So the idea is to tell you that under the algebraic operations, analytic functions or the Taylor series expansion behaves exactly similar to the polynomials. So you know how to add two polynomials, multiply, composition, and all other things. Then what happens to the coefficients? So the same thing in a similar way happens to analytic function. So for this, you have to do two things. First thing is that you understand that an analytic function can be written in this way. Look at here. It can be written as a polynomial plus a remainder term, and this remainder term is basically a function with a 0 at the origin of order at least n plus 1. Okay, so that is the notation which we use for this. So keep in your mind that this is only a notation. It represents any function of this property. So now you look at the claim. The second thing you have to notice this claim. So to understand the Taylor series expansion, it suffices to understand the first n coefficients. Okay, so this is a claim. The first n coefficients of an analytic function f(z) and uh, and a polynomial p and z are same if their difference has a 0 of at least order n plus 1. Means you take an analytic function and a polynomial. If their difference has this property, then their first n coefficients are same. Now let us look at the proof of this. That is very easy. I mean, you write p and z to be this and fz to be mentioned earlier. Now fz minus p and z has a 0 of order at least n plus 1. Therefore, fz minus p and z can be denoted by this. Okay. Now you just write it down. Then what happens is that it's a polynomial degree n plus fz minus p and z has this form, which is again equal to a polynomial with a function with this property. So this happens. Note that this zn plus 1 and this zn plus 1 can be different. But what happens is that both of them has a 0 of order at least n plus 1 at the origin. Okay. Now you look at that. This happens only when the first n coefficients are 0. So that will give you a minus bi equal to 0 for all I equal to 1 to up to n. So if you need more clarity, it suffices to equate the things on z equal to 0. And what happens here, you will have 0, here everything 0, a naught equal to b naught. Then take the derivative and equate to 0 and so on. That is connected with the order of 0 and all. We have order of 0 at least. Now this is the thing. Now if you want to understand the Taylor coefficient, I mean the first n coefficients of an analytic function fz, it suffices to obtain a polynomial p and z such that the difference is of this form. So whenever we talk about the sum of two Taylor series or composition of two Taylor series, whatever, we will be only concerned with the first n coefficients, and we need to find a polynomial p and z with this property to understand the Taylor series expansion. Now sum and product are rather easy. Sum, so if you write fz as p and z plus something and gz as q and z plus something like this, then fz plus gz will be p and z plus q and z plus this. So what is the advantage is that instead of summing two series, it suffices to sum two polynomials. Take the sum of two polynomials to understand the first n coefficient. Now fz into gz, you have the same thing. So this is rather easy because if you multiply fz with gz, what happens is that all other terms will have a term which contains a 0 of order at least n plus 1. All of them will be absorbed in this term. So it will be of the form p and z into q and z plus a term like this, and this only the product of polynomials, which you can easily compute. Now what about f by g? Yeah, now only illustration. So for f by g, to consider f by g, you need to assume that g of 0 equal to b naught is non-zero because of two reasons. Either f by g will not be defined if g of 0 is 0 at 0. But if it's a removable singularity, f by g makes sense. But the problem is once you gz will be of the form z into g1z because 0 g of 0 is 0. So what happens is that this will create some problems when you divide by, to change the divide by something like some gz with some of the terms like this. So we better we assume that g of 0 is not. So now again you have pn set. You need to obtain a polynomial. Yeah. Now you have pn set and qn set. Now what we do, we perform the long division. Means you put pn set and divide by qn set in such a way that you obtain a term like this as a remainder. That is always possible with any two polynomials. You perform the long division. Okay. Then what happens? You will have an Rn set here. It can be anything, but the thing is that you need remainder term as this form. Now f minus Rn g is f is pnz plus something minus Rn into qnz plus thing. Now just do a computation, you obtain that is of the form zn plus 1. Therefore, now you apply divide by g, so f by g will be of the form Rn plus zn plus 1, and we obtain the polynomial, third polynomial to have. So this represents the first n coefficients of f. So now we can do the same thing for composition. For composition, in general, you have to do something like this. You consider G Taylor series at Z0 of G, and will be some W0. Then consider Taylor series of F at W0. That's a general thing. But for simplicity, what we do, we assume that Z0 and 0. That means G of 0 is 0. Therefore, GZ is of this form, and FW will be of this form. For GZ, yeah, GZ you write it as QNZ plus this and W this. Now a simple computation again. So what we need is W equal to GZ. We want to find which polynomial represents this. Yeah, now a small observation is here. The Wn plus 1 becomes a Zn plus 1 here. That is because of the following things. What is W equal to Gz? So Wn plus 1 means a function of the form Wn plus 1 into h of. So you put here Gz. So it is Gz power n plus 1 into some h of. But you know that Gz has Z as a common term. So this will give you a Zn plus 1. So it will be Zn plus 1 into something. So it's a function with 0 at least order n. So that is something which we use. So if you take the composition, you will get so you need to take the composition of the polynomials only. Okay. Now the same thing you can do to compute inverse. So here we assume that g of 0 equals 0. Now Gz has a representation like this. Now if this a1 equals 0, you can see that inverse will not exist. You can very well assume that a1 not equal to 0. Now here there is a small computation. I mean, thing can be explained here. Suppose you have a polynomial Pn with the property that Z is equal to Pnw plus Wn plus 1. Then what happens that we apply the computation for composition. So then Z is equal to G inverse of G of Z, which is Pn of Qn Z plus Zn. That means this composition will represent the inverse function. So we need to find a polynomial Pn with this property. Okay, so that can be done. We can prove it by induction. Extends, you can prove it by induction. So let me not explain that. That's the induction argument. So what we did so far. So what we did so far is this. We have computed the first n coefficients of sum of two Taylor series, product of two Taylor series, composition of two Taylor series, and inverse of a Taylor series. under certain conditions. So in all these computations, we can do the things simply as we do with the polynomials. So that is what is more important regarding the Taylor series. Now we will talk about Lorentz series expansion. We will prove that every function that is analytic in an analysis region has a Lorentz series expression. Okay, so let me state this theorem here. Fz is analytic in a region that contains an analysis. Analysis is something like this. Then Fz has a unique Lorentz series expansion. That means it is like a power series. It's a sum of two power series. One in z minus a power n positive powers, and other one is in the negative power. So it's a doubly infinite series. For the ans, the coefficients are obtained like this, exactly similar to the Taylor series. Now the proof is very simple. You just need to write your function as the sum of two functions, f1z and f2z, where f1 has the representation, the positive powers representation, and f2 has the negative power representation. That's what we do. So what we do here, you define explicitly f1z to be this. So let me explain what you mean by this. This is the integral of f psi dz by xi minus z over a circle of radius r. Here we choose r between r2 and r1. In fact, this is independent of the choice of r. This integral is independent of the choice of r. That is something we have proved here. And f2 can be written as a minus of this whenever your r1 less than r less than mod. So these are well defined, and because is independent of the choice of r. So that is something we have proved here. So this is the thing. So you have something analytic in this region. So you choose any r here and you form that integral. So if you choose another r1 within this region, then you can apply the Cauchy's theorem. In fact, it's a consequence of Cauchy's theorem that these two integrals will be same. That is something you have already seen, because both of them are this function is analytic in that. Okay, now therefore f1 and f2 are well defined. Now so the Cauchy's theorem can be applied, because these two, if you have two circles, they can be shrunk to one. So gamma 1 is on the you can. Okay, now it is very easy to prove that fz equal to f1 z plus fz whenever z varying in this. That's again easy. So I have explicitly proved this. Again, we use the Cauchy's integral formula here. In fact, f1z plus f2z, you just simply apply Cauchy's integral formula to the closed curve gamma 1 minus gamma 2. This is the generalized version. So, and that is a cycle homologous to 0 in this region. Now f1z is this, and you apply the Taylor's theorem for f1z. f1z is analytic in a region mod z minus a less than r2. So the Taylor development will give this explicit expression and everything. So positive part is easy. Now to get the negative expressions, negative terms expression, you need to perform this change of variable. Put these two change of variable. I have explained everything here. In fact, I explained it in much detail, all the details. In fact, it is not very easy. So f2z you can write it as f2. So what happens is this: by the change of variable, so here you have a function which is analytic in a region mod z minus a greater than r1. But by the change of variable, what we get is this: you have a function which is analytic in a region mod z prime less than 1 by r1. So this integral, see what happens to the, so this integral was integral over mod xi minus a equal to r, but the change of variable makes it mod psi prime less than equal to 1 by r. But you can see this reflection will give a negative orientation. So that will give you a negative sign here, but we cancel it with something else. Yeah, the negative sign is cancelled with the, so negative, so it's only simple computation. So you will obtain this. Now you look at here, the expression has a z prime, a term z prime. So f2 of a plus 1 by z prime is z prime into something. Okay. So this is a function which is analytic and has a term z prime. Therefore, it will be 0 at z prime equal to 0. So this analytic expression will not have the 0th term. So that is something you have to. So you have this expression summation bn z prime power n. But we need to compute bn now. To compute bn, you need to understand this function in a better way. You can see that the f2z is equal to this. It is f2 tilde of z prime, is this. And here we have f tilde z prime. What is f tilde z prime? It is f of a plus 1 by z prime, which is also analytic there. Okay. You need in fact only continuity. Okay. So f2 tilde is of z prime into something like this. Now you compare. So this has a power series expansion in terms of z prime at the origin. Okay. Now the coefficients are obtained as f2 nth derivative of f2 evaluated at 0, f2 tilde evaluated at 0 and divided by n factor. So now we use a small lemma that we can interchange the order of integration and integrate it here. So once you integrate, once you differentiate it here, what happens? You can see that you apply product rule here because it is a product of two functions z prime and a function in z prime. So once you apply product rule, it will be z prime into derivative of something plus 1 into that function itself. Okay, and now you apply z prime equal to 0, the first derivative. Then this part will be 0, and only this part will come with z prime equal to. So in a way, in a similar way, you repeat the process and you will obtain this expression for Bn. So this expression. Now what happens? Your Bn is this. Now again a small change of variable which I explained here. So this is the final conclusion. You have fz can be written as summation n z by n, where n varies from minus infinity. Okay. Now uniqueness is very easy. I just need to, and that suppose you have some other expression here. You multiply it by z minus a power of k and integrate it over some circle of radius r, then all the term will cancel, will get 0 only, except the minus k minus 1th term, and that will be your ak. Yeah, that will coincide with this. That a minus k plus 1th term is 2k minus, in fact minus, it should be minus x. So ak equal to small ak for have uniqueness.